Dwindling class. So today's lesson is not really for you guys. um, we should look at this. I'm going to be gone Thursday and Monday, which made me rethink about the next 2 weeks. We had been kind of running with the idea of continuing on with the principles of design and the elements of art. But I decided to switch it up because I need to show people how to get their work into their portfolio at the end. And so I've got to, lay the groundwork here for HTML. Since you guys are in my HTML class, this is going to take you about 3 minutes, all right? For everybody else, it might take, 20 minutes. There's one. How's it going? All right. So anyway, so I've switched things up. This week, your vocabulary is due. That's on your own. Today we're going to be working on HTML, building your basic HTML page. Tomorrow, HTML continued. And then on Wednesday, showing you how to put your works into that portfolio, that design portfolio that some of you took in my Illustrator class, right? For those of you in the Illustrator class, you're just going to continue on, right? You're not making an all-new portfolio. You're just going to put your new works into the 2D design portion of it. Yes? Yeah, good. All right. Over the weekend, this is your homework. You're building your personal brand image. So think logo or something else that identifies you. All right, that's why we wrote the My Story. That was the groundwork for that. That's thinking about who you are and what image you want to project into the world. All right, it does not have to be a logo per se, but it will be graphical in its nature. Whether you choose to do what's called a logo type, which is your name well designed in a particular typeface, or a symbol. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question because that's sticky. Okay, when you use a typeface, let's say you licensed a typeface from Adobe. Okay, didn't come on your system, but you licensed it from Adobe. Especially, you paid money for it. Okay, when you send it on to a printing vendor, you send that font with it, okay, because they don't have it. When they open up your document, it'll put it in those pink highlights and say, we don't have the font, you want to replace it with something. You have to actually give them your font. Now, here's the thing. They understand this, right? Adobe understands this. The printers understand this. They cannot then take your font and work on anybody else's work with that font. Otherwise, they'll be breaking the law. So you're allowed to send along the font to any print vendor, but they can't then take it and use it for their own purposes. Does it happen? I'll bet it does, because it's very convenient to get free resources. Yeah. Another way you could handle it is by, instead of sending along the font, is to save your work as a PDF. And there's a setting in there that basically says, do you want to embed the fonts? And you say yes. And then you don't have to send the font because it embeds it into the actual document. So that's one way to handle it. All right, so that's this week in a nutshell. All right, so that gives you Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All right, this is due midnight Sunday. Okay. I had to tighten up the timeline just a little bit because we've got some work to get done before the end. All right. So I will be gone on Monday. You're going to have to do emphasis and hierarchy on your own on Monday. Tuesday, we're going to do cropping, rotating, rule of thirds. These two you probably can't see on your canvas. All right. These are ones I had to cut out just because of time. On the very final day, when we meet for the last time, this is going to be quiz number 2, the last quiz. Okay? It shouldn't take you that long. I think we have 2 hours or 2.5 hours for the actual final. That quiz, I'm guessing, will take you 20 minutes. So it won't be too long. So make sure to read those pages that we're going through, because I don't cover everything in class. I am assuming that you're also reading along, right? Because it's such good writing. I've seen worse. Right. It should be fun, right? Okay, so any questions about what's happening over the next 2 weeks? We're good? Good to go? One, you good? You understand what we're doing? All right. Then let's go ahead and start with our lesson. So there's Travis. I'm going to wait just a minute for you here, Travis, because you're going to need this. Okay, so go to the HTML and building a web page, click on download the file, which I have just done, and downloads a file called Propeller Hat. So I'm going to go into my downloads, grab my Propeller Hat. I'm going to go ahead and just copy it there. Right, where are you? Copy. There we go, copy. Okay, now on my desktop, I want to create a folder. You always start off with basically creating a bucket in which to put your files. And the reason for this is we're going to be working with a browser. And a browser likes to know exactly where all of its resources are and does not like things moved. It's so picky. It is not smart. It cannot figure out if you've moved something. I have lived those horror stories. You learn from your mistakes, and I have learned a lot. That's all I can say. All right. So I'm going to go to my desktop here, hit new folder, and I'm going to say, let's see, what should I name it? I don't think I called it anything in particular. So let's just say HTML, and I'm going to put underscore files. All right, one thing that the browser doesn't like is spaces in file names. That's why I put an underscore there. Right. Now, inside my HTML files, good practice is to make an images folder. Sometimes assets will work. If you're working with more than images, sometimes you'll see an assets folder, and that might include sound files, it might include video files, that kind of stuff. In my images folder, I'm going to go ahead and put my Propeller Hat. So I'm going to just paste it in there. There's my Propeller Hat. Okay. Now, we're going to use a piece of software we haven't used before in this class, and that is Notepad++. If you have a different text editor that you want to use, by all means, go ahead. Sublime, yeah, if you want to use Sublime or some other thing, okay, that's fine. You know how to do this stuff, so because you're in my HTML course. You could use Dreamweaver, which is on these machines, but I'm going to go ahead and use Notepad. Notepad++ is a basic text editor. Okay, so we're going to be writing an HTML page. The reason that we are writing this HTML page is so that we get used to HTML, so that when we go to put our all of our work into our electronic portfolio, when you hit that page, it doesn't freak you out. Okay, so we're just doing a little bit of groundwork to create an HTML page. All right, so first thing we have to tell the browser is what kind of document we're going to be working with. And that is with a piece of code, doc type, and we set it to HTML. All right. Boy, it's small up there. Can I increase? Ah, yay, it works in this one too. I like that trick. Okay, doc type HTML. And we put it in brackets, right? You're going to see a lot of brackets in HTML. Okay. So then we're going to begin our HTML. right there. Now, with most tags in HTML, you have an opening tag and a closing tag. This is the opening tag for HTML. This is the closing tag. HTML. H T M. There we go. Right. Okay, so what this means to the browser is I'm going to start speaking HTML right here. I'm going to stop right there. Okay, this is typically the very, very end of the document. So what goes in between is the actual HTML. All right, now we've got a piece or a block of code that is going to be invisible to the reader, but not to the browser. And that block of code is the head tag. So there's some invisible stuff, and then there's some visible stuff. Stuff that's in the head tag, between the opening tag and the closing tag of the head, is completely invisible to the reader, but not to the browser. Yes. Right. That's character set that you're going to be using. Exactly. Keywords, right? You know about keywords? That's where keywords go. Right. That's exactly right. Anything you don't want people to actually read on your page goes up into the head. All right? What's that? Who wants? Yes, exactly. Exactly right. No, you won't. All right, so now what is visible is going to be in the body tag. And then I'm going to have an opening tag for the body and a closing tag, just like that. Okay, so here these are the basics of your page. These you cannot do without. There's obviously lots and lots and lots of other stuff that can go in here. But I have found that if I put these elements into a page, I don't get any errors. But there's more stuff that can go in here that clarifies things for the browser. But these are the basics. My head, invisible stuff. My body, the visible stuff. All right. Now, in the head, the first typical thing that you're going to find is the title. I'm going to say title. I'm going to go ahead and say HTML tutorial. And then I'm going to close up that title right there. Okay, this is a particular thing. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Save as, and I'm going to go to my desktop. I want to save it into that folder I made. Where am I? Okay, HTML files. And I'm going to go ahead and call this default.html. Now, you'll see this save as type down here. Make sure that that save as type is HTML or Hypertext Markup Language. That's what HTML stands for, in case you didn't know. Hypertext Markup Language. And then save it. Okay. Now, in order to see what the browser sees, I need to actually open this up in a browser. So I'm going to go back to my HTML document, and it should say default right there like that. It's really hard to see up there. It's tiny. Eh? I saved it as default.html. Save type HTML. No, it seems redundant, but that's what it likes. You got it? Okay. So now, once you've saved it, go into your HTML files folder that you created, look for that default document, right-click it, and then you're going to open with, and then open it with your browser of choice. I like Google Chrome, but you could do it in Firefox or Microsoft Edge if you wanted to. Okay, you shouldn't see anything except you see this this tab at the very top is HTML tutorial, which is our title. That's what the title is right there. If I look back at Notepad++, title HTML tutorial, there it is. Right? That's the one visible thing that you're going to find from the head, all right, that head portion, but it doesn't show up in your browser window. Okay, so it's invisible basically except for up here. In your body is the stuff that you're going to put that you want to be seen. So if I say in here, one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. If I save that now and go back into my browser, wait for just a second. Go ahead and save it. Then I go back to my browser and I refresh it, which is Control-R on the keyboard. That is what I should get. See, can I try that? Hey, it works for that one too. Okay, so that's the visible stuff. All right. Now, if I want to add any kind of styling, I'm going to go ahead and delete that line. If I want to add any kind of styling, there are tags to help me do that. If I want a headline, for instance, I'm going to use an H tag. Now, there are levels to the H tags. The level 1 is going to be typically your biggest headline, the one closest to the top, the most important one on the page. And then you've got this sort of cascading hierarchy of different headlines. Okay, so I'm going to say, this is a headline. And I want to close up that H tag like that. So an H1 is kind of like your big headline of the page. I'll go ahead and put another one in there that's an H2, just so you can see how this works. This might be a sub headline. And then for any what we call body text, that is just your standard text for reading, typically go in what's called a paragraph tag, which is just indicated with a P. Here's my body text, and I'm going to end that P tag like so. Okay, we got it. Go ahead and save that. Go to your browser and refresh it. So you can see what the differences are. Typically an H2 is going to be smaller. H3 will be smaller still on down the road. All right, but you can, with cascading style sheets, which would be the next natural thing to get into, would allow you to style those to whatever degree you want to. All right, but this is its default behavior. This is its default look. Okay, so going to look at this real quick. All right, doc type HTML. What does that do again? tells a browser what type of document we're going to be writing. Okay. What does the HTML tag tell us, Sam? Say it again. Your code's about to start, basically. We're writing now in HTML, right? Once we've determined the language, we're going to start writing in HTML, okay? And then we've got a closing tag here for HTML. What does the head tag do, Juan? What does that tell the browser?
It's the invisible part of the page.
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself. All right. What is the body tag, Travis? It's going to be displayed in the browser, right? All of the stuff that's in the body. Great. Okay. Amy, title tag. Where does that show up? Yeah. Very top tab. Perfect. Okay. So, what I want you guys to do is go ahead and hit Control A, which will select all, and then delete it. Go ahead and delete it. I'm going to leave this here for just a second. Now, save it. I want you to recreate it from scratch. Okay? I'm going to leave this up here. This is your cheat sheet, okay? Don't go here if you can do it without. All right? This is only if you need it. I want you to try and recreate it from scratch on your own perfectly. Yes. Huh? I'm not going to grade you on it, right? I'm doing this for your sake so that you just get good practice, right? La 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 la. Do what you need to do, Emery. This is just for your practice. Say it again? No, not typically. If you do caps in the body, it will show up that way. But I will say that most of the stuff that you see in HTML, written in HTML, is going to be lowercase. I have written doc type in lowercase and uppercase, and I've seen it work in both occasions. Some people have told me in my HTML class that it matters, but I haven't seen it. So far, I haven't seen it. You want to see people get mean and nasty, go onto the forums for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Just, oh my goodness. You got a lot of very strongly opinionated people who are all right. Every one of them. Did my HTML students remember to put char type in it? Meta, character type. I was just curious. I showed you here. This is back to the very basics where we started in HTML. And then we added to it. What was the other thing that we added to the HTML tag? You remember? Language, right. UTF-8, yeah. It'll work without it on most browsers, but you don't know what browsers are going to be used out there on the web, right? They work locally on our machines here, but you just don't know. I still hear typing. Are you guys still working on it? Juan, you still working on it?
I'm pretty much done. I'm just adding small tweaks.
Okay. What about you, Travis? Almost done. Okay. Yeah. Just a basic page. Yeah. Yeah. Back it off. Okay. Shall we continue on? Does your page work? Go ahead and save it. Go back to your browser and refresh it and see if it works. Just make sure. Right. Last thing that we're going to do is we're going to add an image, okay? So go after your p tags here. You could put it in p tags if you wanted to. It isn't absolutely necessary. It's probably good for formatting, but I'm just going to go ahead and write in my image. Now, you would think it would start off with a tag that says image, but it's IMG, all right? And I'm guessing that they did that just for the programmer's sake to make it nice and brief. All right, now we have to say IMG. We have to tell the browser what the source of the image is. And so that's src, IMG src. Sounds like a rhyme that's about to begin. Now we have to tell the browser, where is this source of imagery? First of all, it's in the images folder. I made an images folder. Yep, sure enough, I made an images folder. And the way I indicate that this is a folder is by putting a slash after the word images. Now this image is called propeller hat. So propeller dash hat. And it is a JPEG image, which is part of its name. The last thing that needs to go in an image tag is what's called alt text. And what alt text is if an image fails to load, or if you've got somebody who's using something other than a screen reader, like a browser, like a screen reader, and they can't see the images real well, the alt tag helps them. All right, so I'm going to say propeller wearing dude. Put that in quotes, and then close off my bracket there. Image tags do not need a closing tag. So you don't have to put /img at the end. It doesn't work. So I'm going to go ahead and save that now. Go to my browser and refresh it. Aha! Very good. Got my propeller wearing hat dude right there. Nope. Nope. This is the very end of what we're doing today. Okay. So did it work for everybody? By show of hands, who did it work for? You got it? Got it. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is erase that image and do that from scratch. Can you do it from scratch? That's the last bit of practice here. I'm going to leave this up for your cheat sheet in case you forget and need to refer back to it. Okay, so image, source, alt. So those are things that you need in that image tag. Did it work? Travis looks dubious. Usually it'll be a misspelling or a forgotten quote in the image tag. So make sure that you've got quotes on both sides of your images / propeller hat.jpg. Sometimes people forget to put the .jpg at the end, but that is part of the actual name of the document or the image. Show of hands, who got it? Okay, so Travis, you still working on it? Okay. What you got here? Okay, so make sure to get the end bracket on there. Exactly. Okay, so is the folder that you've got? Oh, there you go. You need a quote in there. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's just double check. Whoops. Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean rewrite it. Equals. There you go. It's good, just the way it is. Quote, and then you're going to end with that end bracket. Okay, so can I see the very beginning of the tag? There we go. Image src equals, and it's in a folder called Photos. Gotcha. Okay. Photos, propeller head. Yeah, go ahead and give that a try and see if it. Oh, we forgot the end quote here. That's our problem. Put that right there. Uh-oh. Okay, now save it and try it. There we go. Perfect. Okay, good. That's what I've got for you today. Just wanted to give you a little introduction. We're going to continue this tomorrow, and then Wednesday I'm going to show you how to get your work into your portfolio so you can show off your work to your potential employer and say, hire me, this is what I can do. That's the goal, right? Get educated, get paid. I like that. Okay, any questions?